We continue in the sounding of the first four seals today. We continue reading at Exodus 7:21. And the fish that was in the river died, and the river stank. And the Egyptians could not drink of the water of the river, and there was blood throughout all the land of Egypt. And the magicians of Egypt did so with their enchantments, and Pharaoh's heart was hardened. Neither did he hearken unto them as the Lord had said. And Pharaoh turned and went into his house, neither did he set his heart to this also. And all the Egyptians digged round about the river for water to drink, for they could not drink of the water of the river. And 7 days were fulfilled after that the Lord had smitten the river. That brings us to the sounding of the third trumpet. Revelation 8:10, the third messenger, he blew the trumpet, and a great star, it fell out of heaven, being burned up just as a lamp, and it fell, that is the star, upon the third part of the rivers, and upon the springs of waters. And the name of the star, it is being called wormwood. And the third part of the waters, they became itself into wormwood, and many of the men they died by means of the waters, because they were made bitter. Now we have what we call an asteroid, which will be named wormwood, falling to the earth, affecting the rivers and springs. I believe that means including the wells and aquifers. Note it says many men die as a result of drinking the bitter waters. But God will have a cure for the bitter waters of these days, just as he had for the bitter waters of old at Meribah during Israel's wilderness journey in Exodus 15, verses 23 through 35. However, the people on earth in this day will not look to God and live. Rather, they will be like those people who died having been bitten by the fiery serpents or the poisonous snakes, because they failed to look in faith upon the brazen serpent as God had commanded them to do. Jesus likened this event to himself in John chapter 3, verses 14 and 15, when he said, "And as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, even so must the Son of Man be lifted up, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have eternal life." Something that will not happen in these days. The sounding of the fourth trumpet in Revelation 12 and 13. And the fourth messenger, he blew the trumpet, and the third part of the sun, and the third part of the moon, and the third part of the stars, it was smitten in order that it may be darkening the third part of them. Even the day may not shine the third part of it, and the night likewise. As a result of the sounding of this fourth trumpet, there is a change in the ordinances of the sun, of the moon, and the stars as we now know them. The explanation, which is contained in this verse, does not necessarily mean that the mass of these heavenly bodies is reduced by 1/3. Rather, it refers to a reduction in the duration of their activity. Instead of seasonally adjusted 2 equal time periods of time, the vernal and the autumnal equinoxes, known as night, ruled by the moon and the stars, and the day ruled by the sun, along with the experiencing of the summer solstice, the longest day and shortest night, and the winter solstice, the shortest day and the longest night, now there will become 3 distinct time periods in each 24-hour cycle. The effects of the sun will be limited to 8 hours. The effect of the moon and stars will be limited to 8 hours, and there will be 8 hours of total darkness. Remember Egypt. I trust you've already noticed that in each of these first 4 trumpets involve the execution of the authority given in the 6th seal. Each of the effects of these first 4 trumpets will be perceived as, quote, a cruel act by Mother Nature, by those deceived ones dwelling upon the earth. Thus the sign of Revelation 8:13 says, "And I saw and I heard one messenger flying itself in middle of heaven, saying with a great voice, Woe, woe, woe to the ones dwelling upon the earth, and by means of the sounds of the trumpets of the three messengers, the ones being about to be blowing a trumpet. The time frame of these first four trumpets covers as much as 1.5 years. Trumpets 5 and 6 will cover 2 years. So together they cover the 3.5 years.